build sheet view. Depending on what you're working on, it might actually look like this or be zoomed in. So all you have to do is within this window, which you see here is bound by the box here. Everything in the gray is outside of the build sheet itself. You'll double click and just using your middle mouse wheel to zoom in or zoom out, we will position this as best we can. Quickly walk you through the build sheet. We have here is a compass showing forward and aft. So what this is indicating is forward is facing downward on the build sheet and aft is facing upwards on the build sheet. So we're working on a forward enclosure, so forward is facing down. If we were working on an aft enclosure, we would change this here in the build sheet, drop down, turn off, compass forward, down, turn on, compass forward, up. So now aft is facing down. But we have a forward enclosure, so we're going to keep this on. This says information. Here you want to type in who patterned the object. So in my case, that is my project manager. That would be Steven. So you would type in their first and last initial, who actually made this in the CAD file, which would be, in my case, me or you. So you would type in your initial. And then your project manager's initials. And my project manager and pattern person is the same, so Steven. Here's where we will put the information for the type of material it is, the color of the fabric, the type of reinforcing, type of thread, and clears are what kind of glass it is, frame size will refer to Biminis and Dodgers. They need to know what frame it is, and scale is if we make covers, we will scale it and indicate what percentage we scaled it at. This is the name of the product we have, and in order to change that, we'll actually double click on the build here. You'll see it highlights. Now I can type in Enclosure. And if I double click in here, it'll refresh it. Well, spelled that wrong. Right? There we go. Here, this is the customer. So you would type in your customer name, and I'll show it in a different video. In this case, it was training. Training enclosure. This is enclosure 1. The fabric we will find and pick this just using a random old enclosure to get the information we want. Sorry, in here this is, you see fabric. Type of fabric is this sunbrella, 60-inch sunbrella. This is the color, so it is slate sunbrella. The reinforcing is actually this just should say VCP. We don't have black Facelon, but that would be VCP with black VCP. The thread is PTFE, and that is in the color black. Binding, we don't have to do anything with that. It's no concern there. And then clears, we have Strataglass. And this will only be populated if there's actually glass in it. if you do a cover or something, you typically wouldn't have any glass in it, so this would be left blank. And you can actually see that this corresponds with what we have to type in on the build sheet. So fabric, fabric, reinforcing, reinforcing, threads, no binding, we don't type that in, and then clears in the same order. Fabric, material, piece umbrella, color, slate. Alright, so I'm going to put this off to the side here to reference. And now to actually fill in this information, I'm going to type in BS materials. And right now this is a script that's working in progress, but what it's going to do is follow suit straight down the line, just like this, and ask you to select the option. So right now we're doing fabric. It's going to ask for the material. See there? Want umbrella. Now it's asking for a color. We're doing slate. That comes in 60 inches, and again, you get that from here. This umbrella is in 60 inches. So 60 inch. It's going to ask you a pen color. Just always pick silver. Next material for the reinforcing, we're going to do VCP. It says black. VCP width is 61 inches. Pen color, again, I'm just going to stick silver. It's asking us for a thread. We saw that in shop flow, that was PTFE with the color black. And clears, we had Strataglass. And we're doing 040 Strataglass with a pen color of none. So that's populated. Now we have to get the hardware, and it's going to be all the various zippers that's on here. But before we do that, we can annotate here in the build sheet a little bit what we have. So we want to put a label on there. This will indicate to the sew team to put a label on the product during sewing, and this will always go on the starboardmost panel towards the aft end. So starboardmost would be S3 and towards the aft end. So we're going to put that there. Don't have any evolution, don't have a door. Delete those. I'm going to delete all of this because we don't need any of those no more. I'm going to come over here. Now I know this is all welt from the review, and this is all welt zip from the review. Welt. Standard welt we do is 8.5. So when you are looking at this here, we have our welt options, and this is 7, and that's just short for 7.5. 7.5. 8 is short for 8.5, so ours we're using standard track in this case, so that's going to be one of our 8 options here. And here you see we have an E, an H, and an HE next to each one of these. So what these stand for is 8.5 welt exposed, 8.5 welt hidden, 8.5 welt half exposed. So we have top welt, and any welt that's going to be on the top will always be exposed. So that makes it easy for us. So we're going to drag this here, just like this. And I'm doing it in this way because during the review, we've been told that all the welt across the top 3 forward panels will be one continuous strand of welt. So in that case, I'm going to come over here in the build sheet, selecting the welt layer, type in leader, and selecting the end of this panel. I'm going to start my point there, end it over here, hit OK. I don't want to do anything at that box. This will indicate that all these panels have continuous welt. If they were to have individual welt, you would go ahead and put a welt label above every single one of these to annotate this is its own welt, this is its own welt, and this is its own welt. But in our case, we're doing continuously all the way through. Same concept applies here on the sides. I've been told that this is all continuous welt for these 2 side panels. So I'm going to do this. Again, if it was 2 separate ones, you put 2 separate ones. Welt zip. Hidden welt zip. I actually forgot to do the .75 offset down to make this welt hidden. So do that in the final version. So we're going to have a welt zip, 3 individual welt zips forward, 1 whole welt zip to encompass the sides. These tick marks, remember, indicate the end of the track, and the welt will go in between those tick marks, and in this case the welt zip will go in between the 2 little match marks. It'll go from, on the side, it'll go from this match mark all the way to the end of the panel. So again, come here, select welt zip, do the leader, welt zip, right. Now I'm going to here, you see here, before we had these ones here, these diamond shaped ones over here. These are set standards, and we'll go over that in a different video later. But here, the colored circles are actually custom notes that you can write in here. So what I will actually write in here is I'll actually note here that the S3/S2 and P2/P3 welt zips are continuous, and this will help fortify this note here in case they don't catch it. They will have this here to remind them as well. And then I'll do the same for the welt. I'll actually just copy this to save me some time. You know, if you actually hit the delete key, it will delete in front of the dash line. I never knew that till yesterday. So those bolts are continuous, and the forward, we'll abbreviate forward with FWD, and the forward 3 panels are continuous. So put those points there.